UFC bantamweight Ailin Perez is famous for her twerking celebrations, and over the weekend at UFC Paris, after beating her opponent Daria Zheleznikova, she broke into that twerk dance in her opponent's face. That apparently got her in trouble because she says, "I guess I got banned from France for twerking." Her manager, who also runs Karate Combat, says he won't bring Karate Combat to France unless they legalize twerking. They don't get banned for mocking the Last Supper in one of the most horrible Olympic Games. Pathetic Fs. Hashtag free Ailin. F France. You can knock an opponent unconscious, but don't think to twerk. They've been resentful from the World Cup, talking about how France lost to Argentina in the World Cup, and Ailin being from Argentina. Ailin moved up one spot in the bantamweight rankings after the victory, overtaking Chelsea Chandler. The division's title will be fought for on Saturday in the co-main event as Raquel Pennington takes on Juliana Pena. Pennington's a slight favorite, but Pena has no problem being an underdog. She pulled off one of the biggest upsets in UFC Championship history. She beat Amanda Nunes to win the belt. She lost the belt in the very next fight to her, but still a legendary upset victory. Also on the card are the next two ranked fighters in the division, Ketlen Vieira and Kayla Harrison. Harrison's a big favorite to win that, and if she does, she'll contend for the title, trying to become a PFL and a UFC champion. That's something that Cyborg is actually trying to do later this month when she takes on Larissa Pacheco for the PFL featherweight title in the co-main events. In terms of belts, Cyborg is the most decorated female fighter in the history of MMA. Former UFC fighter Paige VanZant is going to be returning to the Power Slap stage October 24th against Chelsea Dodson. This takes place at the Space 42 Arena in Abu Dhabi. 2 days later, the UFC is in Abu Dhabi, UFC 307 Topuria versus Holloway. Paige VanZant won her Power Slap debut, and she was decent. However, she did receive some criticism from Power Slap purists who made claims she committed flinching fouls. Guess they're paying her a lot of money. Paige has talked about how much money she makes outside of the UFC, so they probably gave her a decent purse to show up for this. Chelsea Dodson is actually John Dodson's wife, so maybe he can train her for this slap fight, or maybe not, because that may be considered domestic abuse. Dodson is currently the champion in BKFC and a former title challenger in the UFC. The expressionless Alex Pereira gets his emotional range tested. Pereira is going to be headlining UFC 307 Saturday in Salt Lake City, Utah against Khalil Roundtree. He's going for his third title defense. This is actually the third pay-per-view that Pereira has headlined in less than 6 months, which is pretty incredible, headlining 3 times on a pay-per-view in the UFC in less than 6 months, and as a champion, which makes it all the more impressive, something that's pretty unprecedented in the UFC. In a couple years, Pereira went from UFC newcomer to Hall of Famer, practically carrying the whole promotion on his back. Pereira's signature expressionless demeanor is reminiscent of Fedor, who also was known to have a stoic demeanor, but unbelievably a violent and effective fight style.
Is it white? Why I got my hand behind my back?
Really protected from the sun.
You have like a visor, the hair visor. He's actually pretty good at this.
Wow.
He's very focused.
If fighting doesn't work out, you can always be a barber.
Yo, my head feels so light right now. It's crazy.
No. Be a good boy.
It's good.
What the fuck is that track? Let it go.
Yeah, it's good, bro.
It's really good.
Very
Turn around, please, a little bit. Look that way.
You got a model.
That's good.
Wow.
You gonna leave it like that?
You know, it's good. The battery is gone, bro.
You're gonna charge it.
Pode chapear.
Hey,
Sure.
Dana White says if Alex wins on Saturday and Ankalaev wins later this month and has an impressive performance, he'll get a title shot. He's the only guy in the top 4 who Alex hasn't beat. But Khalil's getting a shot on Saturday being number 8, so you never really know what they're going to do. Dana White hates the rankings for a variety of reasons, including John Jones not being pound for pound number 1, Max Holloway being 7 spots below the guy he knocked out, and Khamzat Chimaev being number 12 in the middleweight division. He thinks he's going to have AI take over the rankings at some point. I asked ChatGPT AI their pound for pound rankings. As of now, the top 5 pound for pound UFC fighters are typically considered number 1, John Jones, number 2, Islam Makhachev, number 3, Alexander Volkanovski, number 4, Leon Edwards, number 5, Aljamain Sterling. Dana would love number 1, and he'd probably agree with number 2. Number 3 doesn't make sense. Volkanovski was knocked out in his last 2 fights. Number 4 doesn't make sense. Leon Edwards lost to Bilal Muhammad. And number 5 doesn't make sense. Aljamain Sterling was knocked out by Sean O'Malley. Although AI can provide varied results, this query to ChatGPT had Volkanovski as the number 1 pound for pound.
I don't know what AI you're using. MMA junkie AI.
Chase Hooper passes his 30th drug test in the UFC. This one was administered by Drug Free Sport International. It was taken on September 10 at UFC 310. That's his next fight, December 7th. He's going to be taking on Clay Guida. He defeated him in the past in a grappling match. 310 needs a main event, but they have a good featherweight contest between Aljamain Sterling and Movsar Evloev, 2 top featherweights there, as well as 2 top-ranked contenders in the heavyweight division, Cyril Gane versus Alexander Volkov in a rematch. That has potential title implications depending on how everything shakes out in the heavyweight division. Saying Khabib and GSP had 2 of the best UFC retirements. Hobby Lawler had the best retirement. That was a really good one. Knocking out Nico Price and then retiring. Moicano says he would like to fight Justin Gaethje next in December or January.
We won't talk about Moicano for a couple more weeks. So we won't even talk about him for a couple more weeks. First of all, I mean, you saw what happened to him, right? I mean, it's gonna be a minute before he's even discussed.
Does that make his win, I mean, even more bigger in your eyes because he fought with that nasty injury?
Yeah, I mean, it was incredible what he was able to do with that injury, yeah. And sitting in the corner was never even a concern. It's not even like they were, yeah. And they're lucky because if St. Denis' eye didn't look like that and the doctor went over to the other side, fight's off.